Hey, welcome back. This past week, the headlines felt like they were coming from totally different planets. You've got a 29-year-old tech founder becoming a billionaire, then you've got two major world powers signing a defense pact, and a central bank making a huge decision that impacts millions of people. It all seems pretty random, right? Well, today, we're going to connect the dots and show you how it all fits together in this world that's just moving at lightning speed.
So, here's the puzzle we're going to solve today. Think about it. In just 1 week, a 29-year-old becomes the world's youngest self-made female billionaire. At the exact same time, India and Russia are signing this massive defense deal. And to top it off, India's central bank cuts a key interest rate. I mean, on the surface, these things have absolutely nothing in common. But what if they're all chapters in the very same story?
So what is the connection? Well, think of each one of these headlines as a signal flare. Each one lights up a different part of a world that's being completely reshaped, and at incredible speed. We're talking about brand new ways of thinking about ambition, huge shifts in the economy, and a total redrawing of global strategies. Let's break down exactly how these pieces all snap together.
All right, first up, let's talk about ambition. Because the whole idea of what it even means to make it is being totally rewritten by a new generation. And trust me, their stories are probably not what you'd expect.
So get this, $1.3 billion. That is the estimated net worth of Luana Lopez Lara, and she's only 29 years old. Her company, Kalshi, just made her the world's youngest self-made female billionaire. I mean, that is a truly mind-blowing achievement.
And her journey? It's just incredible. This is not your typical path to $1 billion, not at all. She was born in Brazil, started out with intense, rigorous ballet training in Russia, of all places, and then completely pivots. She goes to MIT for a dual degree in computer science and math. She co-founds her company, Kalshi, in 2018, and bam, just a few years later, she hits billionaire status. It's just a powerful story of discipline, raw intellect, and a totally new kind of entrepreneurship.
But ambition today, it isn't just about racking up personal fortunes. It's also about this collective drive, this push to make knowledge accessible to everyone. And that idea is creating some seriously huge waves all over the world.
I mean, think about the old way, right? For decades, if you wanted a world-class degree, it usually meant shelling out a ton of money and moving to another country. Well, now, thanks to India's national education policy, that whole model is changing. You've got top-tier institutions like Australia's Victoria University setting up shop right in India. Their new campus in Gurugram is set to open by mid-2026, and it's going to offer globally recognized degrees affordably right there at home. This is an absolute game changer for access to education.
Okay, so how does all this individual ambition connect to the bigger picture, to the massive economic forces at play? Well, in this next part, we're going to draw a direct line from high-level government policy right into the decisions being made in the country's biggest boardrooms.
All right, before we dive into the news, there's one key term we got to understand, the repo rate. So what is it? Simply put, it's the interest rate that the central bank, the RBI, charges other commercial banks when it lends the money. Now, when the RBI cuts this rate, it's basically like stepping on the gas pedal for the whole economy. It's meant to encourage more spending and more investment.
And yep, you guessed it, that's exactly what just happened. Between December 3rd and 5th, the RBI's Monetary Policy Committee, headed up by Governor Sanjay Malhotra, went ahead and cut the repo rate down to 5.25%. And this isn't just some random number on a screen, it's a very deliberate signal to the entire market. It's a strategic move to try and kickstart growth while at the same time trying to keep a lid on inflation. A real balancing act.
Now, a huge policy shift like that, it never happens in a vacuum. It sends ripples out through the entire economy, and it forces big companies to react. And we've got a perfect example for you, Reliance Retail, which just made a massive leadership move.
So, on December 3rd, they brought in Jayendran Venugopal as their brand new president and CEO. And let me tell you, this is a very big deal. Why? Because he's coming straight from a senior role at Flipkart, which is an absolute giant in Indian e-commerce. So by creating this new top-level position and putting an e-commerce pro like him in it, Reliance is basically shouting from the rooftops that they're making a massive push to expand their digital game. All right, so from the boardroom, let's zoom out. Let's go to the global stage, because while all of this is happening, nations are forging some really critical new partnerships, and they're doing it in both the old world of defense and the brand new world of technology.
And speaking of defense, a major development just dropped. It's called the RALOS Agreement. Now that stands for Reciprocal Exchange of Logistics Support, which is a mouthful, I know.
But what it really is a defense pact that fundamentally deepens the strategic ties between India and Russia.
So what does this actually mean in the real world? Well, this agreement gives the armed forces of both India and Russia access to each other's military ports, their air bases, and their repair centers. This is huge. It dramatically boosts their operational efficiency, and this is the crucial part, it extends their strategic reach way, way beyond their own borders. This is a massive step forward in their military cooperation.
And look, these strategic handshakes, they aren't just happening on the military front. They're also being forged in what is arguably the defining technology of our era, artificial intelligence. And there's a very specific focus here on making sure AI actually works for humanity.
People, Planet, and Progress. That was the theme of the Regional AI Impact Conference that just happened on December 3rd in Shillong. And this conference, it's basically a lead-up to the huge India AI Impact Summit in 2026. But that theme, People, Planet, and Progress, that's more than just a catchy slogan. It's a strategic statement. It signals that India is committed to building an AI policy that's about inclusion and human progress, not just about who has the most powerful tech.
Okay, for our final section, let's pull back even further. Let's move away from policy and tech to something a little more, well, fundamental. With all of this rapid change happening all around us, it's worth asking, what are the foundations we're actually building on, and whose legacies do we choose to remember and honor?
Healthy soils for healthy cities. That was the theme for this year's World Soil Day, which we just marked on December 5th. And it's such a timely reminder, isn't it? That all of our urban progress, all our shiny cities, are completely dependent on the health of our environment. The whole point is to raise awareness about things like soil degradation and to push for sustainable practices, making that crystal clear connection. The health of our cities depends directly on the health of our soil.
And speaking of these lasting foundations, this week we also need to take a moment to remember a life that was dedicated to public service, a legacy truly built on integrity and a deep, deep dedication to the nation.
Swaraj Kaushal, who was a senior advocate at the Supreme Court and a former governor of Mizoram, passed away on December 4th. He was 73. His life was just filled with remarkable achievements, from his incredible legal career to the absolutely crucial role he played as governor right after the historic Mizoram Peace Accord. And of course, he was the husband of the late Sushma Swaraj, and together they formed one of India's most respected couples in public service. His passing really does mark the end of a glorious chapter.
So let's tie it all together. Let's look at the big picture from this week. We saw ambition being completely redefined by both a 29-year-old billionaire and a big push for education for all. We saw how economic policy directly shapes who leads our biggest companies. We saw global power shifting with new partnerships in both defense and AI. And woven through all of it, a powerful reminder that the legacies that truly last are the ones built on service and on a sustainable foundation.
Every single one of these seemingly separate events, they're all just pieces moving on a giant global chessboard. And they are actively shaping our world in real time, right now. So that leaves us with one final question to think about. As all these pieces keep shifting and falling into new places, what new picture of our shared future is starting to come into focus?